So Heston Russell runs a thing called the Veterans Support Force. He proudly served his country in Afghanistan, and I think he continues to serve his country by helping the men and women of the return services, but not in the traditional way, doing it in a new way. And I think it's a much appreciated way. Heston, nice to talk to you, mate. How was Remembrance Day? Were you able to see people you hadn't seen for a little while due to lockdowns, etc.? What was it like? Obviously an impactful day, but what was it like for you?
Hey, g'day, Paul. Good to chat with you. Yeah, I'm actually here on the Gold Coast. It's a bit humid here today, mate. So it was great to get out there. I went to the service at the Commemorating RSL and got to connect with people that I'd served with, veterans that I'd served with, right the way through to a lovely gentleman, Dan, who's a member down there, who was a member of our Navy in World War II. And getting out there and engaging with people, being able to share this moment, remembering those that we've lost, but in particular, getting out there as a community, particularly coming out of lockdowns and everything else we've been through, and having those conversations that you can only have face-to-face, and having those memories spoken about those that you serve with and are no longer with us. It was a really great day, mate, yeah.
Yeah, I showed images like everyone has earlier in the day, but I like to show on days like this stills images because I think it's good for people to focus on one thing, not be distracted by the moving image. And you know, we don't have that many older people around from World War II. It's extraordinary to see that that's the case. It won't be that long before the Vietnam veterans start to thin as well. And, of course, both of those figures have been parents or grandparents or, of course, our own family in our lives. It feels like, you know, we're starting to see the transition. It'll take a while, but we've got to make the most of the time we have to have a chat to these people.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And just after the ceremony today, or the commemoration today, I actually attended a Zoom call for a funeral of Joe Daniluk, who was a Corporal 8RAR in Vietnam. And this year, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of Vietnam veterans as well. And these are those people that you would know, mate, are those that we need to sit down and talk to more because they have those perspective. You know, there's over 500 people killed in Vietnam. There's tens of thousands of people killed in World War II. And we sit here at the moment coming out of this pandemic and all of these issues, and I was listening to your panel beforehand and you know, especially speaking with some of those guys today, it's incredible while we take this moment to pause and remember. So easily we know people just move on and forget, and we're having conversations here in Queensland about people getting to be rewarded by keeping their rights come December 17th. And you know, mate, as a veteran, as 5 generations of my family have served and fought this country, but dating back to my great-grandfather who was gassed twice in World War I, it's really difficult to, you know, have days like today only to move on and watch all these politicians place these wreaths and say their words unless we forget, and then see their actions, particularly this last year, mate, in the veteran community, that their actions say much more than their words have and continue to. And it's really hard to sit and watch what's been going on, but it is very important to take today to remember those that we don't have, but at the same token, make sure we move on and respect their memory through our actions, not just our words tomorrow. Well,
it's such a good point about the politicians, but here's the uncomfortable part. I think it's a lot of people who claim to pause, claim to remember, claim not to forget, who then turn around and give a free pass to the politicians who trade away, who use words like freedom as reward. Now, I'm not just talking about how they vote, but it's about when they get asked. It's about how they show their disappointment, how they show their distrust. And again, you know, a lot can be said about how America, in some ways, you know, frankly, if you were alive when they put a man on the moon, you kind of got lazy because you thought you were part of something that was amazing. Well, you can't just peak in the 1960s. Same as the fight for freedom can't peak in the, you know, the 1930s and 40s, 70s, 80s, and even a couple of years ago. It's a perpetual, it's a daily thing, and it's not always a life and death struggle, but it's something that has to be an inherent struggle.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And it's, you know, ambition is that great thing and that anxiety that keeps driving us forward, and particularly our politicians and all of those promises and everything else we see. But there's nothing like a life and death decision to bring you into the moment and make you savour those rights and freedoms and privileges you have. And that's where, on days like today, and having conversations with Vietnam veterans, a World War II veteran, and even my own peer veterans from Afghanistan and Iraq, it's so important, just like on Anzac Day, for us to pause, reflect and remember, but also remember what those true values are, and remember that perspective that we were fortunate enough to have by choosing to serve, and make sure that we continue to do so and continue to push forward in the right direction, remembering what the actual true cost of freedoms and rights are. And they've been too often paid for by the blood of our young servicemen and women, but have then so readily moved on again as we pause, remember, reflect, pay lip service, and refuse to actually put that into action from here. So, mate, these days for me are a great time to reconnect with the community, but also reconnect with that purpose that comes with that responsibility from service, and to ask those veterans and those families of veterans who have that experience and have that perspective in their life to make sure that look around, particularly right here and now with everything that's going on, particularly in our own country as we approach in Queensland December 17th and everything else in between, to just remember what is really our rights and what is really our freedoms and what really is worth fighting for and what should not be touched or taken away.
Yeah, bloody oath. Veteran Support Force is the website and the effort that Heston runs. Strength and love to you and all the organisations like Soldier On, of course, that we've got a media partnership as well, who do their best all day, every day. And it is a reminder, a kick in the arse to, again, talk about what we just did. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.